And then she has, been developing a pretty strong team here and has a lot of little factors that she has in a slide deck she thought she'd go over and see if it inspires anybody for some thoughts. But I do want the whole crowd to think about like what you use all the time, or maybe you found that you use as like some kind of tech item, and maybe share it with the group too. I want to get her through her presentation.
Yeah.
Cool?
What CRMs are we in? Just so I have some.
Oh,
A lot of Follow Boss.
she's in Lofty or Chime.
Chime. Okay. That second word I heard. First word I was like, oh,
They became Lofty.
Someone the other day was like, I'm in Boomtown. I was like, I thought that broke and disappeared. Did you guys hear about all the Boomtown? People just lost their databases. Yeah. And then people still went back to Boomtown, which I thought was wild.
Wow. Well, and maybe I heard wrong, but I thought Revity bought them out, or something else recently. I thought Join Forces bought them out or something, so it was becoming something else. But
well, and of course, obviously too, like Follow Boss now has Zillow owned product. Right now, everyone's panicking when that news came out. But I was kind of at the camp, show me a better CRM. It's not.
Right.
I'll use it. We're big Follow Boss people, so let me get this going.
Right. It's just like getting showing time, right? I mean, Zillow and showing time.
And Dotloop.
Yeah.
Everything else we have.
Sharon, quick question. Are you guys recording this today?
Yes. So she's recording and zooming.
Okay.
Hi.
All right. So we can get a recording of this.
Yes,
Okay.
of course.
All right. Good question, Ryan.
Yes, all the recordings will be, this recording will be available through the YouTube channel, but I will send the link with the recording.
Thank you.
Cool. All right. We're good.
All right.
Go.
Let's dive in. I had some dry needling done this morning, so if I seem kind of off, I think I'm a little off from that this morning, so sorry.
We'll have to know
My
what that
energy
is too.
seems kind of weird. This is part of a big presentation that I give. I've passed that slide deck, so I feel like I should talk about it. That's my husband, Robbie. And his favorite thing to tell me is that I like to shit time out. And what he means by that is I like to do multiple things in very small blocks of windows of time. If Robbie has to do something, he'll time block 3 hours to accomplish one task. If it's up to me, it's like 9 million tasks in a single hour that never fit. But as we've gone through and refined our tech stack, this has really been one of the things that I've gone back to is like, if we're gonna do it, it needs to show up 4, 5, 6 different places. So I'm gonna, for the sake of time, kind of skip through that, but I wanted to show you guys just kind of a concept that we're using in our tech to help you kind of understand, I guess, where we're coming from as far as building out a lot of this stuff. So we're really guilty of this as agents. It's like the single action and the single outcome. So my old example was, and this is a slide deck from 23 that I built, but in 22, Laura would go on a showing, Laura would write the offer, Laura would wait patiently, and Laura would set up the next showing. And for whatever reason, just think market conditions, like this worked pretty well in a lot of people's business. When the market slowed down so drastically, we had to start figuring out ways that a single action could actually service our business 3 or 4 other ways. So our example, just to help you understand why we're so obsessed with the tech stack work that we do, was kind of this premise, and this is a lot easier for agents to understand. Laura goes on a showing, Laura makes sure that there's a social media post, right? We can't just dead it into the showing. Laura knocks 5 or 8 doors while she's out, and then she's doing some market data information to go show that property, and so she's also dropping that into Slack so other agents can pick up that market data and potentially do a post, go into their database if there's someone local by that they can share some information with. So we kind of took this idea of what we call a multi-valued function. We started applying it in our tech wherever we could. I'm here to tell you that tech won't save your business, it won't run your business, it won't serve your clients, but it is a really nice backup piece to have, and I want to show you some of the things that we use. Let's skip this section for the sake of time. How many of you have a lead that comes into your whatever? How do you guys receive primarily your leads? What source do they come from and how do you get them? Ring, London, Nuxel. What is your?
Realty.com.
Realty.com. Okay, perfect. Realty.com comes in. So that's coming into your CRM.
Correct.
How many of you get a lot of sign calls?
Some.
We get tons of sign calls. Our business, we thrive in sign calls. So an example of the way that I used to run my business as a single agent before I learned that there were all these smart tech things is I would get a sign call, I'd take a note down in my car, I'd shove it on my dashboard or like on the corner of my computer, and that was kind of the end of it. And if I couldn't get them to reconnect or whatever, that lead kind of died. The way that we look at it on our team now is if a lead comes in, we literally want all of these extra outputs to occur, right? That's like the dream. We're really good at squeezing out, I think, a lot out of a single input. So for us, when we get a sign call in, we want to make sure that we can get all of these things to be accomplished. The reality of it is, though, if we throw that on a sticky note in our car somewhere, none of these things are going to occur. So this is where we leverage tech to make sure that we can take that lead and we can multiply it against a formula, right? I'm going to show you that formula through our tech in order to get that many outputs. So here's a really great example. I have a Lex reception service on my phone. This is my father-in-law, Bob Bear, who's calling me. Bob Bear called me and left a voicemail with my answering service. So I got pinged. If you ever watched The Office, it's like Ryan's Wolf, where it pings you in 18 different places. But this is my reception service, taking in not only phone number for them, email for them, but also the address of the property that they were interested in. So I could see here he was interested in our listing on Hilltop Newmore Road. The cool thing is, the reception service got a hold of him, took the message, pushed it to me, but they also went ahead and loaded him into Follow Up Boss for me as well. And so he literally also got a text message from us. This is just a template so you could see going out, letting him know that he is on our list to get called back. All of that happened before I ever even looked at my phone from a missed call. See the difference? Before, it would just be going to a dead voicemail. I'd have to go pull it out of my voicemail, write it down, transcribe it myself. So Lex Reception is one of those first big tools that I use. It's not for every single person. I don't think every single agent needs one. But if you're an agent that's very listing heavy, that carries a lot, I think of sign call potential, this is a really big deal. What I love is that automatically by going through Lex Reception, it's going straight into our CRM. And then our group uses a platform called Real Scout. Anyone in here, Real Scout people? You're on Real Scout? No. It's our IDX service essentially, so it's what pulls the houses in for us. It automatically can get them set up with an account for Real Scout to start searching for homes as well.
Anna, can I ask two technical
Yeah.
questions? On
Please do.
Follow-Up Boss, is Lex Reception sending that text, or is that an auto text that you have set up?
It's auto texting once they put them into
Okay.
Follow Up Boss.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then from the Real Scout perspective, I think we use IDX Broker.
Mm-hmm.
Is Follow-Up Boss actually integrated with Real Scout on an API?
Yeah, and that's why we chose Real Scout, was because it was a very high level integration between Real Scout and Follow Up Boss. There's other things around, but they have a really good integration. Also, Fast Team uses it, and I have just copied everything that they've done.
Kenny Fast. Yeah.
If he tells me to get something, I just go get it. I
Yeah.
don't usually ask questions, I just go get it. So that's how we got to Real Scout.
Okay.
In fact, we had to wait a long time to get it here, and I think I waited about 8 months for us to get approved to be able to use it. We really like it. Our agents set up all their searches in Real Scout, so with all the changes in the MLS, that's been a really big blessing to feel like that part of their business wasn't interrupted.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Lex Reception, I have an affiliate link. If you don't have it, it changed my life. I guarantee you, single most important thing in my business is by far the answering service. Especially team leaders that are co-listing, because half the time I'm getting calls from agents on listings and I don't have any information about them, and before I sit there, and it's nice to have a nice conversation with them, but when they get down to like, do you have offers, like, can you tell me what's going on with this, I have no clue, right? Because it's not, I'm just not in it that deep. So to be able to just copy paste that message over to the real estate agent and just streamline it, the only people that get annoyed with my answering service are real estate agents. That's it. Consumers like it. I can sit at the listing table and pull out this little trick, have my seller call my number and say, hey, look, when I put a sign out in your front yard, this is the number that's going there. You've probably noticed I've been here for an hour, hour and a half. I've not looked at my phone. That could be worrisome, I know, if you've got a sign in the yard with my phone number on it, but let me show you all the backup support that we have to support your listing. Sellers will call, they'll say that they're interested in a property, they'll see how they're getting automated text from us right there at the listing table, and I know we've won a few just from having this back end.
So do you have all your calls going through Lex then?
So it rings, it's a conditional forward, so I have the option to pick up the phone. So if I see my phone ring, it says my dad, I can answer it. If my phone's ringing and I see it's an agent who's asking me the third question for the same day in the row, I can send it right over to Lex Reception and they can send me a summarized voicemail.
Okay.
It'll tag buyer lead, seller lead, real estate agent, and I'll show you the end of this. I even have the real estate agents just to be sure that that doesn't go into dead space, because a lot of times I just told you I'm sending it out to the agent that's co-listing with me or someone that has more information. I can actually get them put into Flowdesk for our weekly mastermind group. So just by calling me as an agent in our marketplace, I'm able to capture information through Lex Reception to build my agent email list,
Okay.
which is great. Real Scout to Follow Boss is a really great, I think one of the best iterations. Let me see if I can pull this video up, if it'll play. I don't know, I'm not very, here I am teaching a class on tech and I'm not very tech savvy. It's hilarious. What this normally goes to, it may just be because I was messing around with it in my car, is, we've got our Instagram stories all the time where we're posting, reels and things of houses. And what I found was a lot of times agents are throwing Zillow links in there, and it drives me absolutely bananas because I feel like I'm just encouraging, people in my database to go click on their buttons. So Real Scout provides agents on teams and individual agents very specific links that will pull into the Real Scout account first. For team leads, one of the reasons I love that is it really does encourage our agents to try to post as much as they can, even on other agents' listings on our teams. Because if someone in their network clicks on that specific link, it's going straight into their Follow Boss and it's protected, right, by that lead link. So Real Scout will give landing pages and property-specific links for agents that feed right into Follow Boss, and that was another big reason why we went with Real Scout. Oh man, I really want this to work. How do I show you this? I wonder if I can screen mirror my phone. How many of you have open house sign-in strategies that you feel like are working really well?
Nope.
Okay.
Just sign in.
How about people coming to open houses?
I can't solve that problem. Oh, let me see if I can pick. I really want to show you this, and it looked like it was working before I plugged in. So let me see if it's just a disconnect. We struggle with this. Katie Core's got a really good integration into open house logins. They have like your own login page and all of that stuff. We really struggled with open house logins. We used Flowdesk for a while. Anyone familiar with the Flowdesk platform in here?
Just from you mentioning it.
Yeah, so we used to use that. The problem was Flowdesk wouldn't automatically send over phone numbers. So on Mondays, I'd have to go back into Flowdesk and pull all the phone numbers and import them back into Follow Boss. It was ridiculous. So we found an app called Typeform, and again, it looks like it, when I go here, it's fine. So let me see if I can display it from here. Sorry, guys. I want to show you this thing. But I want to make it large so you can see it. All right. Let's see. So essentially what we did is we built through Typeform. Here it is. I knew it was going off somewhere. I could hear it. I'm sorry. 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 This is so terrible. I'm so good at technology. Watch me do it. Alright, can y'all see that? Okay, is it large enough that you can get an idea? Alright, so this is our open house sign-in process. There's a couple components here, and the reality is, like, looking at it real quick, you're gonna be like, holy crap, that's a lot of stuff to build, but, like, no, that's not as overwhelming as it looks. So each of our agent has a specialized QR code through Typeform. It's just a website. It's very inexpensive. I got it from Phil Stringer. Again, every single thing I have, I got from someone else. I haven't found anything on my own. I'm very unoriginal. But basically, it routes them straight to this, like, it's the way it prompts you is so nice. It's all your information. Ask you, where did you meet? How would you rate this listing? And they can submit. And once they do, delivered straight to their phone is actually an agent info sheet for that agent that's on site. Which our agents, again, love this because it's putting their collateral in front of that agent at the door, not just so much team branded stuff. That website allows them to go and look at home valuation, allows them to start their searches. This is a Real Scout platform page, that's all it is. And so they can literally sit here and see the listings that this agent is carrying, what they've sold, a call me now button. All of that is housed right there. So that's kind of that's the value add that we give when you log in or you sign in with us. Not only you enter to win something, we do a drawing every 2 weeks, which we're terrible at doing consistently, but you get that agent's information. What's great for our agent is that lead has already come through Follow Up Boss right away. So they're in there, in the house with the information. So that makes opening a text conversation or whatever even that much simpler for our agents because I feel like they're doing it. 20-minute delay, an email drip campaign goes out, starts just letting them know thanks for coming to our open house, and puts them on like I think it's like a 16-month drip campaign through Follow Up Boss with certain text reminders and emails, and you can see that running through there. So open house sign in through Typeform was a big change for us, and what we find is a lot of times people, they don't necessarily want to sign in right there underneath your nose. So we'll always print 2 copies of that QR code, each agent has 2, and then they can go put one in a master bedroom or in a master bath or away from where that agent's standing. And so this is really in place to capture those folks that just were not going to sign in right in front of you. We tell our agents all the time, don't use this in place of a conversation starter. Don't use this in place of being like, hey, let me get your number, get you started. This is for that person that was going to be stubborn to sign in, that we're looking for that extra capture. Does that make sense? Great. Any questions on that? Typeform. Very easy, very pretty. Gives you an estimated amount of time that it's going to take to fill it out. Any kind of questionnaire service, anything like that, Typeform is going to be your friend, and it's very inexpensive. This is what my screen looks like, by the way. It's like a little ant. Ant screen. Alright. Let's see if this one's gonna load. I want to feel really good about it. Doesn't look very good, does it? Anybody in the room using Fellow?
Mm-hmm.
Great. Would you like to see how we use Fellow?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let me just go back and painfully do this again. Oh. If I had never taken the time, it would have all worked. But since I decided to make them look all nice and fancy, they're not going to work. How's y'all's success on Fellow been so far, guys?
I don't think we really get anything except past clients who are reaching out that we probably would have gotten anyway.
Yep. Are you using them in like farming at all? When you're neighborhood farming or circle prospecting?
They're just, people I think would have contacted us.
So what we're doing here, let me see if I can make this bigger before it continues. I know it's just tiny. We use Fellow at a high level with circle prospecting. So we go ahead and pull in all those neighborhood farms information, and we typically get them up and running on Fellow as well, which has probably been our best use of it other than just past client touch. Alright, so this is my story right now. If you want to go do it, I won't be too mad at you. You can go onto my story right now. I posted this literally for today just to request a cash offer. And this is what Fellow looks like. It allows them, if you haven't seen this and you're using Fellow, maybe this will encourage you. So we just threw an investment property in here that I don't think was registered anywhere. But this is what happens. If you request a cash offer, it gives you, and I imagine this looks a lot like that Typeform I was just discussing. They must be using a similar back end. But you can see they can put their information in here. It's gonna verify owner information. Obviously I pulled that from Instagram, so it's pulling it as a prompt. I don't know my husband's number, so I had to think about that. And then it prompts them through some questions on their home details. Does this look familiar to most of you that are using this platform? You've seen this before, yay?
Is Fellow just like a lead capture?
It's a home bot. Are you familiar with HomeBot? It's HomeBot. It's a little bit more scalable though, because you can have multiple agents on that platform. When it was HomeBot, it was just mine, and they were just stuck there. So this one communicates a lot more. So again, they can go through, give all the information on the property, which I really like to see this. If you didn't know it had this capability, I think this is huge. And gets information on what they're looking to sell, potentially what they think the home is worth, so doing a little bit of your pre-qualifying work for you, any interest in purchasing a home. And then it will basically kick out just a quick valuation. What I love about this again is like when they do this, it's automatically going into Follow Up Boss. And if you are in Follow Up Boss, Fellow and Follow Up Boss integration just got 800 times better over the last probably 30 days. Lots and lots of integrations, but it shows them potential comps that were used, allows you to reach out to the agent, shows them the trends, all that kind of stuff. This is a really, really great system if you do not have this, single agents or team members, and you're not utilizing it. This has been a really big deal for us.
How much do you pay for Pellet?
I have okay, so again, I was at EXPCon last year. I was at the fast forward movement thing. Dan Beer's like, this is what we use. So I went back to my hotel room and I got it. So I think I pay for and we have 25, 30 seats. I think I pay $600 a month, but I think I have some grandfather pricing. I've heard it's gotten more expensive. It's tough for single agents, I think, and for single agents, I would tell you, as long as you can get into Zapier and build some stuff with HomeBot, you're good. The problem is if you have multiple agents on your platform, having something where there's multiple seats so that they can manage their data is really important, which is what HomeBot was missing. Real Scout has a seller's portal platform. It's just not nearly as strong as this one. Any other fellow questions that I can answer since there's a few of you on here?
We had to pay based on how many contacts.
Yes, correct.
So I think ours is around $800 a month,
Yeah.
and we only put half our database in as a
Yeah.
test run.
Yep.
Because we didn't want to scale all the way to the full enchilada until we could see
Yeah.
some return on that.
So where we've really used it is, we use Mojo for all of our data pools. So anytime we have a listing in a neighborhood, we're just going ahead and pulling that neighborhood in as part of the circle prospecting plan. And I'll give you a QR code if you want to steal our circle prospecting plan. But one of the things we've really seen there is getting those people engaged on Fellow because it's a nice compliment to the, hey, did you know that your neighbor is selling? Hey, did you know that your neighbor is selling? Also in order to help you really see how the sale might impact your home valuation, we're giving you access to our back end portal for our people in our database, and you can take a look at that. It's just a nice add from the traditional circle prospecting. Okay.
Anna, who's doing, or you might get to this, but on your circle prospecting calling, who's doing all of those calls?
Our agents that are listing in that neighborhood, particularly with a team lead, it's a mandatory task. So if they have a team lead list in a neighborhood, then they have to circle prospect. If it's their sphere, I just tell them you're kind of dumb if you don't, but if you don't, you don't. Yeah, but we do very well with sign calls and circle prospecting. That's always been one of our big lead sources. All right, let me see what else I have. So quickly, just a couple tools to write down if you don't have these. And this is, I think, Sharon, what we really wanted to spend a little time on. So I don't even mind going in and hopping on my computer and showing you what some of this stuff looks like. We use Flowdesk. A lot of our agents use Flowdesk to create property-specific emails that then can be used as a web browser. You can send it out as an email, or you can text over the link. So we use Flowdesk a lot. There was a short period where we were sending some of our emails out through Flowdesk, but open rate wasn't that much different than Follow Up Boss. So we just decided we would stick emailing directly out of Follow Up Boss. So we really use it for pretty much everything other than what it was intended for, which is direct mail marketing. If you get our Wednesday morning Empower updates, we run that whole system through Flowdesk, which is really nice because, again, Lex Reception, which I told you about earlier, will actually link all of your agent calling data over into our Flowdesk for us, which is really nice. Typeform, which I just talked about, this is really great consumer-facing information intake. So it just looks really good. It's pretty. It embeds well.
Back to Flowdesk real quick. So would you consider that almost like a MailChimp? Or...
It is, yeah, but we use it for everything else except for the actual sending of the email, which is kind of silly. But it does a great job capturing segments. We use it a lot of times we use it for forms to get people in to opt into things. A lot of times we use Flowdesk, particularly with agent attraction, because then we could segment by market better. Kristen Campbell on our team, a few others use it at a really high level. Let me see if I can show you an example of that, where they'll create kind of a property, specific, almost like a website, but it's built through Flowdesk. Let me see if I can pull one for you, and I'll show you what that looks like. I know she just sent me some. Oh, that might be my problem. TREX team?
Yes.
See if they'll let me Kristen has this really great listing in downtown Fuquay, by the way. If anyone
Okay,
has a
that's
buyer
super
for that.
cute.
Woo, so cute, so cute. Sorry, it's not gonna be really big. But she built this in Flowdesk and she's able to send out the web browser. So again, I know it's a little small for you guys to see probably where you're sitting, but she basically just custom built this. So she's got some information here. This is specifically going out to agents, right? So here we have the verbiage about sellers are willing to pay a buyer's agent commission. We have shared what ranges they might look like, but sellers have not preset any amount. So it's a nice, again, some of the scripting that we're having to do right now. It's nice. She's got a couple links here: property disclosures, MOG, lead-based paint disclosure, floor plan, tax bill, utilities. So all of this is housed right here. So when she gets a showing request, she can very easily send that link over, and the agent has everything they need, which is great because it cuts down the I can't find the disclosures. Well, you probably haven't looked, and you're probably just asking me to email them to you really fast. So she's able to send over all these documents with just a single link. They store them in their phone, and it's just easy to fly it out when they see that showing request come through. This has become one of our pre-listing marketing pieces that obviously we're promoting to our sellers. We're obviously able to show them that we can create these, and I think a lot more powerful than just a generated property website, because who cares, right? They're everywhere. But this really is agent to agent, and it cuts down a lot of time on those conversations trying to figure out, well, hey, are all the disclosures there? What are your sellers looking for? And she even has a little link here on downtown Fuquay, which I thought was cute. Which this is town sites. I don't know if anyone else is running a town site, are they? I think Tina bought them all. And then she gave me Fuquay. So anyways, that is Flowdesk. That's how we use it primarily. Again, we're never sending this email anywhere. Very honestly. We don't have an email list where we're sending this email. Because I get the emails and I'm annoyed by them. I don't want to open them. But when an agent, is interested in showing, or we see that they match in Real Scout with, or any kind of our reverse prospecting, we can always target them with one of these texts. Make sense?
And you're having to do that manually, right?
Yeah, there's no easy button here, but typically, our agents have them stored in boards, which I'll show you that in a second. So it's usually just a one-click thing for them to get it out. It's also great too because Krista can send this over to any agent, especially outside of our organization that might be holding an open house, and now they instantly have access to whatever they need to, which I think is good. Anybody else using Flowdesk at a high level want to share something you're doing with it that we don't know it does?
No, I don't think anyone else do it at all. So we'll probably need we just need a whole follow-up day on that.
Great. I do like Flowdesk a lot. I don't remember how we came across it, but we've never gone back since we started using it. All right, let me plug in a presentation again.
Does that have a user cost too, like a per user, or is it just an app? Or
It's a per user cost, and I have an affiliate link, so if you'd like to get it, hang tight at the end. You can get access to all my affiliate links. But yeah, it's very inexpensive. I think it's based on how many emails you're going to send. So the reality of it is for us is we never send anything. We just design it a lot of times and use those links. And there's nothing stopping you from using another. I'll show you something you can do in boards if you like the boards app better. But Flowdesk has just been one of those that a lot of our agents have continued to use. I showed you Typeform already. It embeds really well on your website. So for instance, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm going to show you this because I feel like I'm going to get burned at the stake for it one day. But we've been kind of navigating this new instance of commission and offers, and so now there's a lot of debate on, well, the commission amount needs to go into a separate email. I'm not here to discuss any of that. I'm going to show you what we built through Typeform to help us streamline this. So when we have agents that want to send us offer terms and we don't have a 220 pre-signed, we use this through Typeform. It's just a way for an agent to come in and be able to make an offer on one of our listings. It just allows them to literally give every single element to the contract in a form so that our agents can draw up a net sheet, can put something together for our sellers that give them the confidence to then go forward and negotiate that commission. So again, you can go through here, but what I love about it is you can see it's page by page. So each question gets its own. It's a little less daunting if you're looking at someone filling out information And it does preview about how much time it should take. So again, this is just rolling through every single thing in the offer to purchase and contract. But this is something we've used, and I haven't really needed it for multiple offers, but like hopefully if that becomes a thing again, this will be a really good tool to have.
Is this going to one person, or are you?
Yeah, it goes to our director of operations, who then distributes out.
Okay.
Yeah, to the co-list agent who has the listing. Yeah. So again, asking a due diligence fee, due diligence period, every single question, every single blank that we fill out in the 2T is listed here, and it's just, again, this just gives you a way to see how Typeform really works. But being able to build a form and embed it on a website in half an hour, like that's a big pivot. It's a big flex from where I was a few years ago, where I'd be like, I don't know what to do here. Let's just send it out in a text message, and then hopefully I remember that those things are in that text message, but then someone emailed me something differently. And I think that is my biggest fear with where we have going, is no one is sending these 2Ts, at least they're sending them unsigned. And we've always struggled with how can we maintain multiple offers and really feel like we're getting everything we need on that spreadsheet. So this will literally produce a tab for you, a table for you with all the information. So anyways, if you get annoyed by that, I'm sorry if we ask you to fill it out, but we're trying. Obviously, if you send me an offer to purchase, I'm not going to not present it if it's not here. But in the instance that we can direct things here, this has streamlined a few things for us. Make sense? Great. So that's.
Are you asking them? I mean, I guess I could go through this too on my own, but are you asking them what compensation they would like?
I sure am. I
Okay.
sure am.
Okay.
I sure am, and that's why I said I can't believe I'm gonna say this up here, but we are. Because if you've read the new bulletin, it's saying to send the unsigned 2T, and that you're advised, Coldwell Banker Advantage has already done it, you're advised to get an attorney to draw something up that would start binding these things together anyway. So I think the first week or so, agents were very leery of us asking this. I had one agent reply back and be like, are you telling me that you want me to put my compensation? I was like, yeah, that's exactly what I'm asking you to do. It's like, send me what your terms would be so we could draft it. And she was really ugly about it. And then hilariously enough, like 2.5 weeks later, she's like, well, my client's really interested in the home. I was like, well, great. So she's under contract with us, and she's moved on. So like that was all that I needed. I was like, oh, okay, this works.
I don't get what were they scared of? I think they would have to tell you what they want.
Their agents are so concerned about compensation being tied to their clients' offer terms. The reality of it is that there's very clear language that if your client is telling you, I want you to make this offer contingent on your commission being paid because I don't want to pay you can bind them right together. One can be, contingent on the other. We can't bind them in the contract, but she did not like that we were asking her, to tell us what she wanted to be compensated along with her offer terms in the same sequence.
Except that's in a form, so it's not on a 2T.
Right.
I made that argument as well. I think it's softened, but the first couple weeks when we were all navigating, I think this was a little bold it was a little spicy for some people. But and I tell people this all the time, when you're just yourself, when it's just you, it's one thing. When you've got, a large school bus of other people that you need to navigate, you kind of have to create some things. So a lot of this as an individual agent, I probably, maybe I didn't need, but, as you start to scale and grow, it becomes pretty important that you get some of these pieces in place so that everyone can play along. Sorry, I know y'all think I'm a moron. I just can't navigate back. I'm offline again, that's why. Sorry. Okay, and we're back. Alright, let me show you what's next on this. This is probably... Alright, so Cognito forms, which is the latest one here. Cognito forms we use to just collect information. So one of the places that we use it, and again, you could use Typeform just the same. We've just kind of drawn a line that Typeform is a little bit more consumer facing. We use Cognito form more for fast capture. Think like what replaces your Google Docs. They're pretty much one and the same. Our back-end operations team just really likes Cognito forms, and when I found Typeform, I really wasn't going to make them merge into all one. Cognito forms we use to collect vendor information. So how many of you have your vendor list that you're constantly working on? You'll have someone reach out and be like, I get an email from this guy in Fuquay, bless his heart, doing glass work every closing, sends me an email. I'm never ever going to take his email out of there and put it into our vendor list. I'm just not. By nature, I'm not going to. So we created a Cognito form for vendor intake. And we send it out to any vendors that reach out to us and say, hey, look, we'd like to formally get you on our vendor list. Fill this out. And now it's taking it out of my hands to make sure that we actually facilitate it. They're going into that list by filling out a form. We do the same thing. Actually, we use our client feedback with this one too, because it's a little bit more straightforward. It's got some rating scales, things like that. So we actually do our post-closing survey this way. Our agents always fill out a survey at the end of every transaction just to kind of weight how it was working with, their transaction coordinator and myself and support and marketing from the team. So they also do that in Cognito forms. The other day, I think we used it because Charity was like, who wants to do a talk about something at All Access Pass? She's like, just text me. And I was dying. I was like, no, don't let them text you. Make them fill out a form because that is really the game changer for me. Is I would be like, oh yeah, just text me, let me know, whatever, and then it never goes anywhere. So for us to when we meet a great vendor or we're at a networking event or something like that, it's really easy to say, hey, look, I'd really like to get you on our preferred vendor list. Here's a quick link you can fill out, and then it's out of my hands to try to make sure I capture, put it where it needs to go. Cognito Forms looks almost identical to Google Forms, but if you have run Google Forms before, it's a disaster. That's where we came looking for solutions. I think I got this from...
Why do you say you feel like those are a disaster?
Ours I felt like when we used to do them on our pumpkin pie giveaways, and halfway through the day, instead of name, it would be somebody's name. Literally a client had gone in and changed the field where it was enter your name and it was showing up as their name. We never could figure out which link to send, and we really struggled with Google Forms. We had a hard time with Google Forms. Maybe we didn't, maybe the people using our tech did, but we constantly felt like things were broken in Google Forms.
Interesting. Okay.
Yep. The other thing that's nice is the Google Forms is tied to an email address. So if I want someone to be able to go in, it depends on who wants to originate it from their email address, whereas we just have a team login for Cognito Forms, so anyone from leadership can just go log in there. We're not logging into people's emails, which I also liked. Any questions on Cognito Forms? Everyone in this room has Calendly set up, right?
Yes. One of your things.
Oh, no! Okay, well, you need to get Calendly. You need to get Calendly set up if you don't have it. I get the paid version. People are always like, oh my gosh, your P&L must be terrible. And yeah, in this department it is. I lost my credit card when I was on vacation, and I had no idea how many things we had subscribed to. But what's nice is we actually use all of them. So I am still actively using all of them. It was just a nightmare. I was an hour away, and I was like, ooh, I could go back and get that card, or I could tell them to cut it. And I was like, I can either enjoy my life now or hate it in 2 weeks, and I hated it in 2 weeks when we had to go back and fix everything. But Calendly allows you to basically present your calendar forward-facing to clients, to the public, to whoever, your husband, your wife, whatever, in real time. So I don't know how often you get these texts. We're shopping some preferred lenders for a builder that we work with, and we're trying to set up those meetings. And I had to do it the old-fashioned way originally because the guys were like, hey, what about this day? What about this day? And about the third time I was like, I cannot respond to this again. So I sent my Calendly link out. It's a 30-minute coffee or, get lunch or whatever. And it basically shows them all the holes in my schedule where they can just schedule something. For scheduling showings with online leads, it's huge because it gives them that same clickability that the third-party sites are giving, right? I have husbands and wives. The wife will reach out and say, hey, I want to, get you over to look at our house. We're thinking about listing. And I know that there's another party there that's got to be part of that scheduling. I can just send her my calendar link and say, hey, you and Chris tonight, when y'all get together, find a time that works for you. I'm good. It allows them to click and schedule a lot faster than if it were up to me being like, well, no, I can't that day. And I can't that day either. And this is going to be, it just allows them to just know, here's where I can schedule. And we find conversions are a lot faster on Calendly. So get that today. Set it up today. Set up a 30-minute buyer consult, a 60-minute listing appointment, a 30-minute showing, and a let's get coffee. If you have those 4 things, you'll be in really, really, really great shape.
So, Anna, I have Calendly, but I'm always paranoid to share it because I'm always feeling like something's gonna go awry. Are you doing a lot of time, saying, okay, I have to have this much time to prep for this
pretty much leave it wide open. I have certain days where I don't take certain types of appointments and I have certain times. So let me just pull mine up and I'll show it to you.
Anna, what were the 4 again? You said buyer consult.
Buyer consult,
Listing.
listing, get coffee, and then a showing. I like to have something specifically that says showing. Particularly for that online lead that you're looking to try to get it scheduled. And yeah, the reality of it is, do I know on the back end that I can absolutely get that showing approved from the seller? Nope, but I want them to click the button telling me that they're ready to go make a showing instead of floundering around being like, well, what would be a good time for you? Because they're never going to answer that question because it's not ever a good time for them. Because they've just clicked that button to mess with you. So let me pull up my Google Calendar.
Or like 30 minutes before coffee, 30 minutes after coffee to make sure that you're.
Yeah, you can give yourself a buffer, and depending on the type of person that you are, you know, like that might work for you. Remember, my first slide was like, I can fit 9 million things into an hour. So like, I have no buffers, like none whatsoever. But like Katie on my team, right, like has everything buffered out, so there's no way that. So it just really, I think, depends on you. The reality of it for me is it's still easier for me to go back and be like, oh my gosh, guys, I'm so sorry. I had this tech stack training that got moved, and I completely missed it. And I'm really sorry that time is actually not going to work. What about this? But it gives the power to that person to like feel like they can make that first move, which is what I need 99.9% of the time. I keep all of my things in my Google Calendar, so my schedule stays pretty booked.
That's what I was wondering too. Like sometimes I feel like someone might look at your calendar and be like, well, crap, she doesn't really have time for me.
Yeah, I mean, so it depends on what it is. If it's a listing or a buyer, I basically have it so that like you can get in. Like you can get in because I have it set to all hours of the day being available, whatever that may be. These are all the ones that I have, which some of them are a little.
But like, what happens if someone like asks for like an 8 o'clock appointment or something?
She goes.
Yeah, I'll go.
Okay.
I'll go or I'll send somebody else.
Take care of ourselves and not throw ourselves out there.
Or
And
else-
it's kind of scary.
I'll send somebody else. I mean, yeah. Dude, the reality is, I was like in appointment this morning because my back's so screwed up because I probably like pushed it too hard for that long. But the reality is like for me is like that the button clicking is happening somewhere. If I don't give them the ability to click a button, they may go find somewhere to go click a button, and then that lead is leaving my group and it's going to someone who is set up to click on button clicking. So my reality is I'd rather give you the opportunity to click and then have to walk it back or amend something than I would lose it to someone else. Because that person that wants that, they're gonna click the button. And here's what happened in my life. All the people around me got really good at knowing like if I'm gonna book something with Anna, I'm sending her a calendar invite or it's not happening. And I was never that person. I was always like scribble scrabble on a paper calendar. I'd never know where I was supposed to be on any given day. So my world kind of adapted to that as well because I took it very seriously because my calendar was a disaster before I got Calendly. But again, I was just somewhere at a fast forward movement conference and someone told me to get Calendly, so I got it on the flight back home. Ashley Bomarito still jokes about that because it took her about a year later to get her set up, but I did it on the plane next to her leaving. So that's a big one. I love that. And again, you can control. You can provide buffers. I don't, for instance, like that my coaching link for agents, I don't take those after 2 p.m. because I know that I need to have clear space on my calendar for potential business, meetings. So you can kind of do that as well. You can say if it's this type of appointment, I only will take them from this time to this time. So, but then showings we have opened all the time. And then I think the last thing is boards. Anyone using boards in here?
I downloaded it.
Great. All right, so let's play a game. How many of you have like things stored in notes somewhere, like a auto reply to something that you store in notes, and when you need to send it, you go copy and paste? Great. Boards will actually give you a keyboard on your phone that's right there in your messaging, right there in your social media. You click a single button and all of those boards will come up. It's like a Google Drive for your text messaging, social media, wherever. So the way Calendly is so efficient for me, if I had to go dig my Calendly link out of Calendly every time I needed to send it, I would probably auto back to well, what works for you? What's a good time? But for me, on my phone, I hold down my little world button, I press my calendar, boards, and like my links are all there, every single one. So if someone pings me and they're like, hey, we're interested in potentially selling our home, I have one this morning, I was able to literally like in 2 seconds say, hey, absolutely, I'm walking into something, here's my calendar, go ahead and schedule some time, we're gonna touch base before, and all of that's just pre-stored and it's one button instead of 18,000. You can build websites and boards. So one of the things, I know I showed you guys Kristen's flow desk, one of the things we're looking at doing now is actually migrating that over to boards, because we can actually build a website in boards that's housed in boards. So again, you think about having a property specific website, a specific event that you're doing and you want to advertise, whatever, you can actually do a ton of marketing materials right inside of boards, and it's one click away from everything. Just saving your property listings. Like I have all of my Real Scout active listings. So if someone pings me, I'm able to do that. If I'm in social media, putting a reel up, I can just quickly do it. It's accessibility. It's taking 10 minutes to put it into boards so that I can execute in a matter of seconds versus the 3 hours that it used to take me to do all this stuff. So boards is, I think it's pretty free. I think if you upgrade to a Teams account, it gets a little bit more expensive, but for a single person, I think you can get boards for pretty cheap. Yeah. It's a Google Drive, for your text and social media platforms. So you don't have to go copy and paste out of your notes section.
Can you show what that looks like, or do you have that option to show?
Let's see if I can open one for you. So here's an example. These are our buyer leads. So again, I've got just an introduction video on YouTube. I've got our buyer appointments right here, so I can just click this button and it'll pull up that message right in my app as I'm texting. Website, digital seller website, digital buyer guides, they're all stored in here. So pretty much anything that I'm going to send out on a multiple times a week are stored here. So for agent attraction, let's see if I can zoom out, all of our Empower Wednesday links, all of that's there. So you can categorize all of it. And then even my hashtags, this is so silly. Like when I'm posting on social media, to not have to go get my hashtags from my notes, I can just literally press a button and they'll all appear.
So our team's been using boards, and for team leaders, you can create the board. You have to pay.
Yes.
I have a paid account. My team
Yep.
members do not. And I can share boards out to lead
Correct.
follow up or whatever that looks like. I have it all set up.
So we used it a lot with our NAR scripts. Right here is the answer, can you send over compensation, right? And then there was the reply, so we were able to just share that with our team instead of having to get the actual text out to everyone, make sure they had it saved. We just told them make sure they know to have boards on their phone, and then they get notifications as we send updated
So
things.
you're saying when you go to type the text or whatever, you're able to within that text not have to go to Google Keep and
Correct.
copy and paste
Correct.
it or whatever.
Yep. It's just a single extra button. So when I go to text, oh, someone just got a Tidewater. It's okay. I can fix that. It's the little button down here. You go to boards, it'll pull them up, and then you're able to literally just hit send from there. So it literally truly is like Google Drive. What I do love about this, if you're looking at managing a bunch of people, like Cliff was just saying, is it's really nice. Our marketing person can create this really nice graphic, thanks for showing our listing or whatever, and literally just send it over to that agent. We're not having to download and swap and email and where did you put that and where is that hanging out. It's very much more streamlined.
So here's a question. I guess you could maybe use that, so we use Google templates a lot,
Mhm.
right, when we're going to send, but the problem is you have to be on desktop
Mm-hmm.
in order to do that. So
Mhm.
this would probably be a good option for that,
Yeah.
especially when the agents are mobile.
Correct.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, we get that, the NAR script is a great example because, that was one of those things where we needed to help everyone kind of get that script right. And we took it from multiple people having conversations, figured out what was working well, and then as we get updates, we keep putting them into that board for changes. So boards is really, really helpful. It, I think, gives you a lot of your time back. Lex reception and boards probably my two favorite things that we have. Oh, now I have to figure out how to get back. Any questions on any of those things? And here's the reality, is it really doesn't, I think that usually what happens, two different thoughts on tech. It doesn't work exactly like you think it's going to work, and so then you just stay away from it because you're like, well, I don't want someone to book something on my calendar and I can't go to it, so I'm not going to use it. Or you have people that will learn just enough of it that they think like, oh, well, it solved this problem, but it doesn't justify, paying it for all these other reasons because you're only scratching the surface of what it does. And I think really with this kind of stuff, like you have to still run your business. Like this does not like solve all the problems, but what it does, it gives you time back. And we tell our agents, with the time that you're getting back from these things, it allows you to pick up that phone and have a better phone call. It allows you to do something a little bit more personalized because you're not so beat up by the end of the day trying to respond to an agent asking where are the disclosures and where is it. It takes some of that just like monotonous, I feel like time-consuming stuff out of our daytime. And that's been the big reason why we've continued to push and try to figure out more and more stuff. Not as reluctantly as they used to. They used to see me come back from a conference and they would die because they knew I was coming back with so much stuff. Any more questions on any of that lead? I call that kind of our lead gen stuff. Okay.
So did you just implement all this at once, just like went for it, or did you like if you had to implement one thing today, what would it be?
I would get some kind of capture form system together for your business. So whether that is Flowdesk, whether it's Typeform, whether it's Cognito Forms, I think the big miss most agents have is we're really good about putting value out into the marketplace, but we're not good at exchanging information for it. So I think that is one of our big things is, hey, look, if you're gonna get on our social media and you're gonna take a quick tour of this reel on this house, then we want to make sure that we're trying to at least have the opportunity to gather some information. So using some kind of form saying, hey, I'm interested in downtown Fuquay Marina homes, and that somewhere that they can plug their information in. Would you like to find more? So if you don't have any forms working for you anywhere, I would fix that first. And again, use whichever one you like the best. I think they all do a little bit different things, but as long as you've got a good solid CRM, they're all coming into the same place. So it doesn't really, to me, it doesn't matter how many different form systems I have. If they're all coming to the same place, it's fine because Follow Up Boss is ultimately filtering it all. Yeah, just the open house sign in, giving our agents, I think now too, the desire to go out and do things in the community where they have the opportunity to capture information because they know that they can generate that Flowdesk form, they can do something where they can capture people's information, has really been a big deal. So I would say if you don't have that, that's a big thing. Most of us don't know how full well our CRMs work either. A lot of us don't understand the drip campaign capabilities that they have, some of the others. So if you haven't really deep dived into Follow Up Boss and you feel like it's not, if you're on the regular old Follow Up Boss built campaigns, there's nothing wrong with it, but I would say the next biggest thing would be going in there and trying to customize as much as you can of those drip campaigns. Yep, Circle Prospecting Playbook, feel free to steal that. Anyone want to talk about a couple operations? Have I broken you too much? Would you like to keep going?
Take it off.
So we use, most of us in Follow Boss, how many of you are using the deal section within Follow Boss at a high level? Okay. We don't use it to track our numbers. We're in CTE to track our numbers. So I'm just telling you, we do not use Follow Boss to track our numbers because our agents would not be responsible enough to get those things amended. So Nina keeps CTE, and that's where our true numbers come from. But we do use the deals section within Follow Boss to trigger some events that happen. So here's a great, hopefully this will play. Hopefully I don't have issues with this one. Here's a great example of Katie goes in to put a new listing into a pre-signed seller. So our pipeline seller, so this is a listing she knows is coming. Maybe we don't have a date. Maybe they've pushed us back 18 times, wherever we're living. She can go in here, and the way she's naming it is just an internal preference for our Slack channels. But Katie will go into Follow Boss, create this deal, put in some baseline information, which is why we would never use this for our numbers because it would never be right. Because you know what happens from the time you have a pipeline to the time you get it signed, all kinds of things can happen. But she'll go in here and create this deal. And when she does that, what's really great is automatically on the back end in our Slack channel, our director of operations and our transaction coordinator and everyone else is getting pinged, letting them know that we do have this new deal on the horizon. So this is a lot better than chasing people down saying, hey, remember at the team meeting 3 weeks ago, you said that you might have this listing coming. So we were able to create really nice drip campaigns for very specific periods, like the pre-marketing period for a seller, the on-market, the under contract, 7 days to close, and then close to 1 year. So we have custom drip campaigns and all those things that are set there. That's what incentivizes our agents to actually use this tool this way, is because they get a lot more value for their client by putting them through the deals process. But then again, on the back end, it's really important. This is our Slack channel. The operations department got pinged letting them know that this existed. It let our transaction coordinator know it was probably time to reach out to start working on some public docs, figure out what the agent might need. And then it automatically created that transaction channel for our team to be able to start talking on. So all that happens just because they use the deal section in Follow Boss. So if you're not using that at a high level, I would encourage you to, because this has been a big thing for us as we scaled. We feel like we don't miss quite as many pieces now. This also forces our agent to communicate within the channel so that they're not just pinging the transaction coordinator here and then we find out about this here. Keeps everything in a little bit more of a streamlined process. Anybody gonna use deals now in Follow Boss?
I'm gonna honestly say I didn't even know that existed.
Oh, it's the best. Oh, it's the best. Look good.
We need one of these like once a quarter. So
Yeah.
Anna can tell me all the cool
It's so
stuff.
hard to keep up with.
Yeah.
Just everything,
It
being
is.
production, being team leader. I mean, you're just being pulled in so
It
many
is.
directions.
And the reality of it is I feel like until you really start to see the benefit of one or two of these things working and you get that little dopamine hit, like, oh, I saved time. Like no one in our world naturally, I feel like, goes into wanting to do these things. I didn't. I really didn't. I mean, this wasn't like something that brought me a lot of joy when I first started. But I had people joining our team at a very rapid rate, and I knew, I was like, shit's either gonna hit the fan or we're gonna figure it out. And so I leaned into this very heavily. And it was easy because we leaned into it from the beginning, so people were very used to onboarding with us and knowing that the tech was going to be a lot because we carry that reputation, I think, around town. But anyways, this is just showing it's sending them, from identifying that they're a seller. One of the components of that drip campaign is that cognito form is going out automatically to that seller to capture all the information that we need to get their listing agreement drawn up. So again, it's just taking some of those spaces and tightening them up so that one thing leads to the other. And then that agent doesn't have to worry about, well, did I get that form back? What happened with that form? Because it's automatically going out just because they created the deal in Follow Boss. So again, our goal here is to allow our agents to spend a little bit more time focused on their clients and not as much time having to do some of that busy work that comes with what we do. And I think we can add one more, I'll show you. Cognito forms to Trello. So this is a service that we provide agents on our team to be able to create social media posts for them. So they can go onto, we have a website just for our agents, apreagents.com, but they can go right here to request content. This is a Cognito form. They can fill out the Cognito form. They can tell us, the property address, what the status is. If it's not that, they can, just describe what they wanted to post. The other day, some girl's like, oh, I haven't done a post 5 transactions. Can you make me a carousel of all my closed deals or whatever? But they're able to go in here into Cognito form, send this out, and it goes to the Trello board where the gal that does all of our social media can see that their request has been put in and she can respond to it and get the post done. So again, just one less thing that that service is something we wanted to give our agents, but the problem most of the time is that the agents they didn't know how to make it happen. And so just giving these very streamlined, fill out this form and then it will be provided for you also ups our value as a team, which is really important to us. So you can see this is all the posts that come through from the deal sections. That's another thing. If they're running them through the deal section, they're getting there automatically. But then if they go and they request it personally, then they have a link there as well. So again, and these things talk to each other. I didn't have to build this massive back end in Zapier. A lot of these systems all talk to each other already. We're just not connecting them well.
So out of curiosity, why are you using Trello for that versus Slack channels? Slack.
So for here, it was just a visual for her to be able to create the post and go. It's just her preference.
Okay.
She'd worked off Trello before.
Okay.
So that's probably why. That's the only place we use Trello in our entire business is social media posts, because that's where our social media manager came from using. I don't think I'm organized enough for Trello.
So what do you use for like your transaction like checklist? Like, hey, need to pull a property card, need to do.
So we loaded that into Follow Up Boss in templates, so it shows up in Follow Up Boss in that file on the right hand side as their checklist.
Under the deal.
But it will show up on that file. So if I pull up someone's, like, you're on the main page of that person and they're a client of yours, the checklist for where they are in the deals process is on the right hand side, straight off of our transaction checklist. Yeah, you can just load tasks in as items in a drip campaign, basically. So we just copied and pasted our transaction checklist, which again, did half the time are they checked off? No, they're not. They're not. But the availability of them is there, right? And
But who's managing all of that on your team then? Like all the listing, onboarding, that side of things.
So our
It's not an
transaction
agent, is it?
transaction coordinator and agent. I'm just saying visually cued, are they going in after they complete something and checking it off to say I got that completed? No, but we've got the communication in the Slack channel of where they are. So our transaction coordinator's usually hanging with them there.
Okay.
Yeah, that's for my tenacity driven agent, and I only have about 3 of them that go in and like to check off their boxes. I mean, they've all done the work, but as far as someone going in and saying, I feel satisfaction from checking this box, I got about 3 of them. That's what I was just talking about before. Agents that get a lot of phone calls in because you have signs in the ground places, and maybe they're agents that you don't need to immediately discuss with. Sending them over to Flowdesk to get them onto drip campaigns is really important. But this is kind of the big takeaway from us is like once you understand that these things exist and your technology is already doing it for you in a lot of ways, I think you will start to look for them and try to figure them out, and they won't be so daunting. And this was the big thing for us is like really now it's a lot easier for me to sit down and say, okay, this pre-listing boards package has got to get done because I know now it's going to save X amount of time in the background. And it really does, like for me, it allows me to sit there and say this admin work is very profitable work for me, which is a hard place for team leads to be sometimes because sometimes I be like, no, I should be in the database, like lead generating and doing these things, but this allows me to spend a lot of time building stuff knowing that the profitability is coming on the back end because it's making our people a lot faster. And then, yeah, your business will absolutely require them over a certain amount of time because you'll have so much going on with all this stuff in the background that you'll have to continue to find places that you can streamline. I think this is probably as of earlier in the year, but if you want to look at everything that we're using, that also gives you our cost breakdown too. So that's just a form on our Canva PDF online. If you want to look at what we're using, and then I have some affiliate links on my landing site. I think they're also in that flyer as well. And again, I don't know if the pricing is up to date as of today, but within the last 6 to 8 months.
When that pre-listing package, are you building that in boards or are you building it in Canva and kind of?
So some of the graphics are coming from Canva, right? And then we're just bringing those over into boards. So it really depends. We've got a gal that's doing that work for us now. So it's kind of whatever she prefers because she's essentially building these pre-listing pages now for our agents to be able to send out. Oh no. I didn't check that.
Join with you. I'm only getting the join with Anna on the right.
Here. I can send it to
So
you.
on the costs and links, I'm only getting 2.
Oh, you gotta keep going.
Oh, you scroll right.
Yeah.
It won't let me go feeling less good.
It's the notice section.
There we go.
Yeah, just scroll to the right. And then it's a bunch of QR codes. You have to work from 2 different things, but it goes through all of our different systems.
ready for tech training.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we need remedial tech
Here's
training
the thing.
and then next level.
All you have to do though is see this one time and say, I want to do that, and then it doesn't matter if I had given you step by step. You're still gonna have to sit down and we're gonna have to figure out like what works for your organization and how do you do things. Some of the things that work for us won't work for another team just because of nature, how we do transaction coordination support or whatever that is. But I think for most of us, it's just realizing that this stuff is out there and like really figuring out how to prioritize getting it done. But like for agents in this room, like the Calendly, I think being able to create that single property page through Flowdesk or through boards to send out on your listings, I think is just a huge takeaway. Those are things that I wish we would have found sooner because.
Well, I'm just thinking, like, we put a QR code in each house, right,
Mhm.
for, and then that's linked to, like, a Dropbox folder so the agent can get
Correct.
all the things that they need while they're in the house.
Correct.
Because God forbid we prep before we go show up.
They're not. Yeah.
So we have that set up, but then I'm thinking, okay, well, if we had boards, I don't know, I'm just trying to think, like, can you end up, like, minimizing, like, because I've always been, like, hey, just use a few things because I feel like, everyone will join that way, but then it's like, okay, well, some of these things might work better than existing tech.
Yeah, I
am
think
now old in this.
I think boards can replace any of your Google Drive stuff. In fact, I'll tell you this, like we used to have everything for the team within Google Drive, and then we were like trying to go over to Trainual because we wanted some like ability to navigate and catalog better. And we just went to, in Slack, they've got like lists. And we went and put all of our new NAR document trainings, like, because that's where our people are. They were going to Slack. So why then force them over to Trainual or to go find it in Google Drive? We're like, let's meet them where they are. So again, a lot of these things do have automations into Slack too. Like they just will automatically ping and let you, like, so again, like it really depends on what your central nervous system is. For us, it was Slack. So we tried to make as much stuff linkable out of Slack as possible because we know they're there. Yeah, but I do
you
love
use Slack a lot?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I use Slack in certain, like, for, like, fast forward movement and that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
The
Yeah.
general thing, I use that a lot there. And I've thought about doing it with the team because, I obviously I have a smaller team, so we do group texting a lot, but I was just talking with Robin, I was like, it'd be nice if that was an easier, way to get certain information. And I like the boards idea, too, because to your point, right, with all these templates, we're having to recopy them into each person's email and it's just cumbersome.
Yeah. I mean, the emails that you have pre-templated can go into templates and Default Boss so that they're just automatically pulled in. So that's what we did with most of ours. But again, like some of those, like just benchmark texts and reminders and things like that to have them in boards where they're ready to go. I just feel like if I'm going to give you access to a library of things, you're more likely to use it if it's somewhere that you just push a button and it goes versus having to go get it, put it where it needs to go. So that's usually where the translation gets lost.
Yeah.
Is moving it twice. But yeah, you're not going to get all of it in one swing. We've literally been focusing on this since the, February of 22, I think. So, literally 2.5 years of, continuously pushing it
Was
out.
that about when you started your team, or have you started?
Yeah, I had, 1 or 2 team members in the fall of 21, but it was, very easy. They were both new agents, so, there was not a lot of doing anything without me. But I went to a conference in San Diego. You were there, I'm pretty sure, in the little theater space or whatever. And I just remember Kenny got up, or Elias got up, and then I met Kenny, and I was like, holy bananas. I was like, this guy sells a lot of real estate. And, he's hilarious, and I think he's great. But, he didn't do it by, tap dancing his way down through his, past client list. He did it with systems and processes. And so that was the big shift moment where I was like, the reason that I was out showing a house a week after I had the twins, the reason that I haven't come up for air is because it's just me. And if I could get some of this stuff in place and basically, because it's the same thing I struggled with, if I was going to pass a past client over to an agent on my team, I wanted to be sure the experience was the same. Well, if I have a lot of that messaging pre-crafted and there's a system for getting on our calendar and things like that, I can make the system a little bit more, replicatable than I could just being like, here's a name, good luck. Hope that works out.
Yeah.
So that's where the need for the build came. A lot of new agents that wanted to join our team.
Where are you housing your onboarding stuff?
Nina keeps a Trello board for onboarding, actually. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Nina keeps a Trello board for onboarding. And then they get a Slack channel, just specifically for onboarding. don't be scared of the technology. It's fine. You saw how dumb I am, and I can still use it at a very high level. But yeah, if you have any specific questions or you want me to sit down with you and try to set up some of this stuff, like you can get on my calendar link. It's on my site, and I will be there.
Let's use her time wisely, and if somebody signs up for something that they want help with, like tell us, and whoever wants to be there,
Yeah.
we'll video it and like know it at once. Because I think that's the hardest thing too. I realize as a team leader, like Aubrey may ask me, a question, and I just answer her, but I need to somehow capture that and disseminate it to
Correct.
everyone, because that same question is going to come up.
Correct.
Correct.
Yeah.
Or we're just running around like chickens, just darting
That's
shit
it.
out everywhere. Yeah.
That's what we do. And yeah, there's a lot of pride in doing that too. It's just
Right.
like there came a time though where I just felt like I was shorter with things. Like I didn't find the joy in stuff as much because I felt like I was running around doing dumb things like, hey, I know you have this listing coming because you asked me about pricing it last week, and yet I don't see it anywhere in our system. Can you tell me what's up? I got tired of those conversations. I'd much rather have an extra 10-15 minutes to talk about pricing and not be worried about where is this listing and does our operations team know? Because now I just know. And now our agents know. If you didn't get it in, like, I'm so sorry. Like, yes, we're going to provide that client the highest level of service, but like, we are not magicians. Like, we can't just magically pull everything out of our hat, and you may end up doing more legwork as a result, agent, for not getting it into the process fast. And that's the same for me. Like, I'm the agent that I'm speaking of right now. So, but yeah, if I can help with anything, happy to. Maybe watch our social media, follow some of our agents. You'll start to see some of this, I think, at work, and just replicate it, because all I did was steal it from somebody else.
So are you doing a lot of your social media, your own media, or do you have someone doing?
We've literally just hired. We didn't get a team account until this time last year. So we've managed with just my account for a long time. And this time last year, we got a team account. I put a bunch of stuff on it, then we sat really idle, and I just made a hire in the last month and a half for more specifically. We hired her for key accounts, so she's handling some of our build clients and doing their marketing, and then also just marketing for the team. That was kind of the role she took. She's an agent, so just a little bit of salary, and then making that up with some sales. Yeah, we did it ourselves. Which you can tell when she got hired.
Is it per post? Per post? You pay her per post?
No, I just have her on a salary.
And you just tell her, I need this many posts per week.
Yeah, I don't even though, because she's following those Trello boards where the agents are putting under contract or closed, so the content for those stagnant posts are all there. Now, what we do love about her is she's really good at coming. We did like a cute one the other week at a meeting where we read off hard to say names in North Carolina and stuff like that. Like, that's where she's,
Giving
really
you some ideas.
correct. Yeah.
The creative.
Yes, but the consistency of the stagnant posts have been really beneficial, I think, to us recently, because we have some agents that just would not have created that social media on their own. Now they've got 2 or 3 things on their page, and then voila, that extra SOI deal showed up, and I think it was more of that consistency of that stagnant post. I think that actually was probably something we underrated for a while. So I had to hire her sooner if I'd have known.
Thank you, Anna.
Oh my
Yes,
gosh,
thank you.
you're so welcome. I'm sorry if I made you feel like this is the hardest thing ever. It's not. It's not.
Not good enough.
And it's hard to teach. It's hard to like explain, because it's very much like, and then this does this, and then this does this, and like you're checked out halfway through. So I think it's just knowing that all this stuff's possible, and then figuring out where are my problems. Where am I not like feeling like my hour rate is good, and then figuring out, is there a solution for that? Because some people love, like I have agents that love when other agents call and ask questions about their listings. Like I'm so sorry, and I'll be the first to tell you, I hate it. So like knowing that was something that I needed some leverage on is good. But like in the other hand, I love to schedule out with sellers and come up with, like there's certain things that I love to do, and I don't mind taking the time to do it. So figure out where the places are that you don't find a lot of joy, and let the tech solve it there. So let me know how I can help, for real. I'm really happy to sit down anytime and go through it.
All right, and Linda, you want to talk?
I just want to talk real quick about iHeartEXP. Are you on that too?
No, but I mean, I'm happy to.
So Renee and Colleen and I are organizing iHeartEXP.
This year it's October 7th, it's Monday. We have got still lots of opportunities. Get with your people. We have 25 slots for Note in a Pocket in the afternoon. We've got Dorcas Ministries that still has a lot available in Cary. We have, you get your team together,
Yes.
get them to sign up at April Stevens' office. We have Backpack Buddies, and Interfaith Food Shuttle also has a lot of spots open as well. So there's several places where you can get groups of people together to volunteer. It's a lot of fun. It's great social media. If we have like these 5 or 6 different places where we're doing it and we're all taking pictures and all that kind of stuff, I mean, we could have, you know, a good 150 to 200 people participate. But we are worried right now because we've committed to some of these charities and we've got a lot of vacancies. So I think a lot of people are waiting to the very end, but definitely sign up. Find a friend or 2 or 3, and I know that you're talking about it in your meeting every week, and we appreciate that. Yep, we appreciate that. Do you have anything to add to that, Renee?
No, I think you did a good job summarizing.
Thank you.
And I know, and you know what, one of the biggest excuses I've heard, because this is, I don't know, the 4th or 5th year that I've done this is, well, I don't have any time. Okay, we'll make some time. Like, it's just put it on your calendar.
3 hours.
Most of these are a 3-hour commitment, so it freaking grates my nerves, but again, it's, I guess, a priority for me, so that's why. But I think making it a priority, giving back to your communities, I mean, the communities have been very good, I think, to all of us in this room, and so that's why I feel passionate about giving back to our communities.
Put it in your calendar and we'll.
Yes.
And more importantly, put it in your calendar and show up, because like last year we had like 45 people signed up for one of our things and we lost like 15 people in one day. And I feel like, you know, I mean, yeah, you had a showing opportunity, but was it really impossible to get them? You know, be control of your schedule, right? I mean, yeah, if you have an emergency, you're sick, somebody's sick, whatever, that's fine. But, you know, if you put it in your calendar.
If it's in
Be there.
Calendly, they can't even book then. So.
Exactly. Exactly. Put it in your calendar. And thank you very much. We really, really, really want more people to be signing up here pretty soon, because we don't want to have to call those people and say, oh, we've only got one person for your 50 slot
Yeah.
charity.
Well, I think Note in the Pocket on the 28th will release any of the extra spots out
Automatically.
to the public again. Yeah.
Well, I really like Note in the Pocket. It's right over there on Hargrove. They've got 25 spots in the afternoon, so if you've got a big team, that's a good one for you guys in particular. So get your people to sign up for that. I'm trying to get Tina's.
Cliff has already been attacked by us.
I don't see a lot of your folks signed up yet.
Which
And-
is weird.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah.
And I'm working on
And
Tina.
Cliff and I are doing 2 shifts that day too.
Yeah.
So I checked in with her admin today too, and they're supposed to be doing some stuff with Dorcas, I think, is what I also offered them Note in a Pocket. I think it's better for you guys as far as location.
Yeah.
So I don't know when your team meeting is, but you know, get them. Okay. So do you have the direct
Yeah.
link? Because I think when you give people too many choices, sometimes that's a problem. So like when Tina's people reached out to me, I kind of just gave her this one, or maybe this one,
I've
right?
been just pushing Note in the Pocket. We did have a
Oh, good.
good turnout last year.
Yeah, I think everyone had a good time.
And maybe you already have some folks signed up for the morning shift, but that afternoon shift is completely open. So maybe, I don't know, maybe you need to do a raffle. Get them to sign up and give them a prize.
All right, thanks guys.